Hi everyone, it's me Tanya here, and I hope you guys are all doing so well. Today I want to come in and do a video about trying to conceive. So I get a lot of questions about, trying to conceive and what I've done, to try to conceive with PCOS. And so I decided to share my story and what I've learned so far, like trying to conceive. And so, yeah, here we are. So I do have some things that I'll be showing throughout the video so that I can show you exactly what I used. And then I'll give you a little bit of backstory about, how things got started, why I started, my journey to try to conceive. And I'll also share like what I plan on doing to try to conceive in the future. So if you'd like to know more about what I plan on doing to try to conceive, or my trying to conceive story with PCOS, then stay tuned. So I'll give you a quick history on why we decided to try to conceive in the first place. So back in July 2015, I had some issues with my kidneys that required me to get an ultrasound. And then during the ultrasound, I found out, or the doctors found out, that I had a mass on my uterus that they weren't sure about, and that freaked me out. I then, in August, after some thinking for about a month or so, my anniversary is August 24th, and normally my husband and I, we go and have dinner or we celebrate, and then we like to reflect on our marriage so far, and then we like to talk about our future and what plans we have and what we would like to see or do for our future. And so it was then that I decided to let my husband know about my concerns and what I had been thinking about. He knew that they found the mass or whatever, but he didn't know that I was thinking about trying to conceive, because I was worried that, I may have waited too long, and then this issue was here, and then, now I might not even be able to, really give it a good fighting chance to try to conceive, because I already knew that I had PCOS. And if you haven't seen my PCOS video, it'll be linked down below. Please go take a look at it. I share my story about it there. So once I brought it to my husband's attention that, I wanted to try to conceive, he was on board, and I told him, I'll go, I have my pap smear coming up soon. I'll talk to my doctor about it. I'll see what she says. See if she says, thinks that we have a good chance, and then I'll let you know, from there. A week later, I went to my doctor, got my pap smear done. I brought my concerns to her, what me and my husband wanted to do, and she was on board. We talked about my mental health, my home life and all that stuff, and she felt like it wouldn't hurt things. She was, if you're ready, your husband's ready, you both sound like you're ready to go, you can do this. And so from there, I was pretty much like, okay, now what? Like, what should I do next? And so she told me that I should start taking prenatal vitamins, and I started taking these, and these are just some prenatals that she prescribed to me. So I've been taking these ever since she prescribed them to me. And then I also knew that I had to get my birth control removed from my arm, because I had the NEX at the time. So I scheduled that, and the earliest I could get it out was a month away. So September 23rd, I went and had that implant removed from my arm. And once it was removed, I didn't know when my cycle would start, but I knew that I needed to start preparing myself for the journey. So I then went to Amazon and YouTube and Google, like we all do, and I started buying things and watching things and reading things. So the first two things I'll show you guys that I picked up were this book here, Taking Charge of Your Fertility, which is an awesome book. If you're going to start trying to conceive, I recommend that you add this to your collection. And then I downloaded the app Fertility Friend, and it was so helpful. I also got this book here, which is What to Expect Before You're Expecting. This one I didn't even know was a thing. I just always heard of What to Expect Before You're Expecting. And so when I went on Amazon and saw this pop up, I was like, oh, okay. So I went ahead and ordered it, and I read it, and this book was also helpful. This one is not as thick as the other one, but it did help with a lot of the same things. So it just kind of depends on you. I recommend going on Amazon, reading the reviews on both, and if you want to get one over the other one, you just make that decision for yourself. I have both of them, and I will keep both of them because I thought that they were helpful. In reading those two books, I learned about taking my basal body temperature, and that's what I started incorporating. So here is my basal body thermometer, the one that I have. So I take my temperature every morning, and then I would chart it in my app Fertility friend, and that's how I kept track of, you know, what my body was doing. However, my cycles didn't actually start until 4 months after I had my birth control taken out. So my cycle started, and it was kind of patchy for a second, and then it was like really heavy, and I was bloated, and I had already been going through ups and downs with like tender breasts and all that stuff for 4 months, and it was just all kind of crazy. So my body was really trying to figure itself out because I had been on birth control for 6 years. So I had another appointment after my cycle had actually started, and my primary care physician was shocked at how long it had took to come on, and I was surprised because she had told me just wait it out and it'll come on or whatever. So that's what I was doing. But after that, she actually sent me to a gynecologist, and when I started seeing him, that's when it really got real, and he started giving me all of my options to, you know, try to conceive with some help because I had PCOS. So with his help, what he told me about was the mini stem, and that is when you take Clomid with Gonal-F injections. So before I could do any of those procedures or the mini stem, he told me that I would need to get an ultrasound done to see if there were any cysts present before he could, you know, prescribe it to me. So I had, you know, between the first and third day of your cycle, you have to get your ultrasound done, and that's what I did. And then I had a cyst. And so at this point we're in February, so February was pretty much done. I was pretty much sent home to try on my own naturally. March came around, I went again, the same thing. I had a cyst, it was too large, so I couldn't do the mini stem. April rolls around, and I have another cyst, and these things aren't going anywhere. So I was getting frustrated, and then I knew that I would have to stop after April because my husband was going on deployment, which means nothing can happen. So in April, when I realized that I had the cyst and everything would have to be put on hold, something that my doctor recommended to my husband and I, because I told him that, you know, my husband is going on deployment, so he won't be here, and so we're gonna have to put everything on hold. He recommended freezing my husband's sperm. So we went in for a consultation at a local sperm bank because the Navy does not do it, but they work with a sperm bank out in town, so he referred us there. We went and sat down and talked to them, and, you know, found out our options. My husband had a semen analysis done. Everything came back normal for him, and we found out that because of his sperm count that you know, depending on how much he got, we could potentially get 2 vials and have those frozen while he was away, and we would just have to pay a fee for that. So we considered that option of trying to freeze his sperm and do the IUI while he was away, so that we wouldn't have to, you know, put everything on complete hold, you know, because I was getting older, and, you know, we were trying to conceive. My husband's already older, and so, you know, we thought about it, and then we decided not to go with that option because we still want to try to do things as natural as possible, and I want my husband to really be a part of the process of us, you know, trying to conceive, because this means a lot to the both of us. So all of 2016, summer 2016, everything was put on hold. So there was no trying. I just continued to take my prenatal vitamins. I worked out. I changed my diet up a little bit. After that, I just decided to give my body a rest. I did all this stuff to be prepared for when he returns so that we could jump right back into it. I also started journaling just to get my feelings and stuff out of my head, to kind of help myself relieve stress, because I know that stress affects my body physically, and I didn't want stress to be something else that was hindering me from actually conceiving. When my husband returned from his deployment, he was also graduating from college, and we had a lot going on. But at that time he returned, it was also time for me to ovulate. So I decided to go ahead and try to try for my mini stem this cycle. So right before he came back during my cycle, I think on the second day of my cycle, I went in for an ultrasound. I found out I was cyst-free, so I was happy because everything that I had worked on, like changing my diet and exercising, was working for me, and I didn't have any cysts or a cyst that was large enough to hinder me. So I was cleared to go ahead and do the mini stem, which included Clomid and Gonal-f injections. So I went in, I got my medication, and I got my injections. I put them in the refrigerator at home, and in the middle of my husband returning from deployment, preparing for his graduation, him actually graduating, having family in town and spending time with family and everything, I was secretly giving myself like injections in my stomach and taking these pills, and at that time the Clomid didn't give me any side effects. I didn't have any issues with Clomid then, and me and my husband were baby dancing like crazy trying to get this thing to work. While you're taking Clomid, at the end of taking them, I took 2 tablets a day for like 5 days, I think it was then. So I took 50 milligrams of Clomid twice a day for 5 days. On the 7th day, I started giving myself Gonal-f injections, and so it was 2 injections that I had to give on each side of my stomach and like the lower part of my stomach near my pelvis, on the left and the right side. And after that, I then had to go to the doctor so that they could see if my follicles had formed. We went to the doctor, and oh my God, I found out that I had 4 follicles, and that was like the best news ever to me. I was so happy. I was like, oh my God, it worked. Like, I can't believe this. Like, I actually have follicles, and like, I'm ready. So after the Clomid, we did all that. Me and my husband baby danced and all that stuff, and the Clomid did not work. So we were a little, well, actually we were a lot of disappointed. We were disappointed because it was our first time doing the Clomid on this assisted fertility cycle, and we had high hopes, and they tell you not to have your hopes too high, but we had high hopes and it didn't work. And so we decided to try again for October, for my cycle at the end of the month of October. When I went back then for my ultrasound, I found out I had a large cyst, and so we did not qualify to take Clomid then, and I was bummed. So I got really frustrated, I got really down, and for a minute I didn't think I wanted to even continue going on, because I was like, I'm giving myself these injections, I'm taking these pills, and it's been over a year, and I know people are trying to conceive for so long, and nothing happens. And for me, it had only been a year, so I was just like, I don't know, I was really down on myself. And nobody in my family still didn't know. Well, at this time, actually, my sister knew. And I was just frustrated. And I was upset at the fact that I even had to go through this and deal with this. And, you know, I was angry for a second. I went on that emotional roller coaster, and, you know, it was hard. So what I did was I decided to relax myself, you know, pray more. And I read this book, The Alchemist. Like, if you haven't read this book, I recommend reading it. Like, this book changed my life last year, and I don't know, I can't even express to you guys how much this book changed my life. So this book and a pep talk from my support person encouraged me, you know, to keep going. And so I've had 2 more cycles of Clomid and Gonalef injections, and you know, I'm still going, I'm still, you know, hopeful, and I'm still encouraged. So another thing that I did find helpful, though, when I did try the Clomid cycles and stuff, were these little cheapy Wanfo ovulation predictor tests. It came in handy so that I could monitor my ovulation and keep track on if my body was actually ovulating and stuff. So after the last cycle of Clomid and Gonalef injections in April, we knew that we would be moving across country, and that things would need to be put on hold for a minute, because we knew we would be having a lot of life changes coming up. And so we put everything on hold. It's now August, and we've pretty much been on hold since May. In my PCOS video, I told you guys, you know, I haven't had a cycle. That was last month in July. It is now August, and my cycle just started yesterday for the first time. And girl, she is back with a vengeance. You hear me? Oh my God, the cramps and the flow, oh my God, like the flow is out of control. But what I've taken, so since my husband has left for deployment, I have, you know, started seeing my new doctor here at our new duty station. And my new doctor has put me on Metformin. I'll be taking the Metformin until she tells me to stop. I also had my blood levels and stuff checked, and I go back in a couple weeks to find out the results from that for a follow-up. And so now I'm just taking the Metformin. I've been on Metformin for about a week and a half now, almost 2 weeks this Saturday, and so far I haven't had any like crazy side effects. I did have a little bit of diarrhea, I know, TMI, but that was only like 1 or 2 days. My best friend scared me though, because I asked her about it when I was picking up my prescription, and she was like, oh my God, you're gonna be hurting and all this stuff. And girl, I didn't have any side effects at all. Yeah, I haven't had any real side effects from Metformin. I've always taken it with food because it says it on the label, and I do drink plenty of water, so I don't know if that is what has been helping me, but I haven't had any upset stomach or anything like that. I just had, I mean, I wouldn't even call myself having like diarrhea for real. I just had more of like soft stool, and that was it. I am taking 500 milligrams, and I'm taking 2 a day with food. So I take it in the morning with my breakfast, and I take it in the evening with my dinner. I bought myself this little pill case from Amazon, and I suffer from really bad allergies, so I take a Claritin every day too. So I put my 2 tablets, my Claritin, and my prenatal vitamin in here, and I just keep up with it that way. And another thing I wanted to show you guys before I get off of here, that we used, me and my husband, These came with Pre-Seed. Pre-Seed is a sperm-friendly lubricant that is safe for use while you're trying to conceive. I bought it off of Amazon. They sell it at Target. They sell it at Rite Aid. Like, it's everywhere. It's just near pregnancy tests and stuff. But you fill up these little tubes and then you insert it into your vagina a few minutes before you actually have sex. So yeah, me and my husband use Pre-Seed. I don't think it has hurt anything. I did talk to my doctors about it before I used it, and they thought it was a good idea too. So I do plan on trying to conceive when my husband returns from his deployment. And the fact that I just started my cycle after taking this Metformin makes me feel really good about what's to come. I'm glad that we're trying something new. At the same time, I am working out more now. I am still working on my eating habits and everything. So I am actively preparing myself and my body for what's to come. I'm speaking it into existence. I'm praying about it. I put it in God's hands. But I'll give you guys a quick recap of what I'll be using when I do try to conceive when my husband returns for deployment. First, I will continue praying and journaling. I will continue taking my prenatal vitamin. I will continue taking my Metformin. I am currently on 500 milligrams. I'm taking 2 per day. I do plan on continuing to use Pre-Seed. I do plan on buying more pregnancy tests and more ovulation tests because I know I will need them. I will be taking my temperature daily and charting it, and the app that I'm using right now is called Ovia, O-V-I-A. It is the best app so far out of all of the apps that I've used because it updates as you enter information. While my husband's away, before he returns, I plan on rereading The Alchemist. And I also plan on rereading these two, Taking Charge of Your Fertility and What to Expect Before You're Expecting, so that everything is fresh for me. I most importantly plan on taking care of myself, relaxing, staying stress-free, and enjoying my family. This time around, you know, I want to share my story. I want to help someone with my story. If you have any questions, always feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Reach out to me. I'll give you my email address so that you can email me. If you have my number, you can most definitely call me. And yeah, I plan on documenting my journey this time. Plan on staying stress-free, and you know, my main focus right now is me and my health and taking care of myself. That's what's important. And I do still have a support person, but now I have all of you as my support people, and we can, you know, go through this thing together. So if you'd like to go on this journey with me, encourage me, like learn from me, let me learn from you, I'd be more than happy to welcome you. So yeah, that's it for this video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys learned something. If it's something that you're not too sure about, please feel free to leave it in the comment section below. Reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to clarify things for you. But with that being said, click the thumbs up button if you enjoyed this video. Click the thumbs up button if you learned something in this video. Please subscribe so that you can follow this journey with me, and hopefully in the end we'll have a little baby. See you in the next video.